Bearcat Bounce Podcast at it again.
Brent's way better.
I know. Welcome in, everybody. This is the BBP. Brent is on a plane right now, home from Florida. Aaron is dealing with a 8-month-old or whatever she is now.
What's the date? Almost 6 months.
A 6-month-old that is auditioning for American Idol in the background. So tonight, we're going to start the show off. First off, we're going to start the show off by thanking our sponsors, Danco Transmission. Mention the BBP on your next visit to Danco. Get 10% off of your next service. Just tell them about the BBP and tell them that Brent sent you. And they will get you absolutely taken care of, courtesy of our good friends at Danco Transmission. Make sure you stop by, say hello to Danco Joe, and get yourself taken care of. But since Aaron's occupied a little bit here for the next half hour or so, and Brent is what do you say? He lands at like 7:30, but maybe sooner. I don't know. He's going to be here as soon as he can.
His flight itinerary seems to have gone back and forth like a tennis match. I have no idea what's going on. If he makes it home, I think everyone should be impressed at this point.
Yeah. So we're joined by the legend, the GOAT, none other than our good friend Zach Tobler, to get us out of the gates tonight and get us rocking and rolling. So I'll ask you, Zach, how are we?
I don't know if I'd go that far saying go, but I appreciate the sentiment there. I'm doing well, though. Doing well. Got a little bit of Florida sun last week. Not last night, Saturday at like 6 o'clock-ish. So
how was the trip? It was cold down there, wasn't it?
It was cold like the first day and a half, 2 days, but when it warmed up here, it warmed up down there too. So it was in the 70s for Saturday or Wednesday on, really. So it was nice to get out of here for a little bit and get some Florida sun.
You get any beach time in?
No, we didn't really have time. Well, we played at like every day. Our games were at like 1 o'clock, or the one day when we played Olympia and Jizzle, that was at like 9. We didn't tip off till like 9:30, so we didn't get any beach time. But
that's unfortunate. At least you had fun. That's
good.
what matters.
Yeah, it was a good time,
right? As long as you have fun.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
Winning equals fun.
I know. I need to get a Tobes picture up here somewhere.
I can hook you
on
up.
The wall. I did the mixed tiles. Have you heard of mixed tiles?
No. What is that?
It's like these little. You send them the pictures, and then they send you the frame, and it's just got the adhesive on the back.
Oh, that's cool.
Stick to the wall. You don't need to like put nails or.
Yeah, that makes it really easy. And they're all like perfectly square frames, so you can kind of.
Yeah, everything's already like all set, and like they just send you a box, and you just put them.
What do they charge you for one of those?
I got 12 of them for $100.
That's not bad.
No, and then I got the Bearcat Journal sign for like an extra 20.
There you go. Hell yeah.
So, not terrible. And then they sent a special, and I got Kelly 20 of them for $100.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. UCF Superfan wants to know if you made fun of any UCFers down there.
I didn't really see any. We were in Ocala, so we were a little bit north of Orlando, but I didn't see any UCF gear.
Nobody likes them.
More Florida. Saw a bunch of Florida, but no UCF.
Yeah. Steven does make a good point. Royer's not here tonight. He's going to the Bengals game. So he bailed on us. So, one walk-on legend to another. So, but you're
picture
back
of my horses. My horse.
Your room. You got a horse?
Yeah. Former race horse.
Like at your house?
No, it's at a barn. we're trying to get a house with a barn and everything. So one day.
When we get in meat.
No, this is my wife's setup for work. So
When are we getting Meeker on here? I'd love to get Meeker on here. Meeker's a great dude.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while. I talked to him at one of the games, like one of the first games I ran into him. But
That is also a great point, Steven. Royer ain't got no horse.
this one's actually won a couple races. It raced at like Belterra and stuff.
Oh wow, nice. So you got a horse with some pedigree.
I wouldn't call it pedigree. It won maybe like 70 grand in its tenure. But
I mean, that's pretty good. That's more than I've won doing anything in my life. So
me too.
The horse is more accomplished than us. Art Long had a horse. No, Art Long walked past a horse. The horse was
the horse ran into his hand or something.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, it's a complete accident. It's totally the horse's fault. All right, let's get going. We'll start with the tournament that your Covington Catholic Colonels played in down in Florida, and you guys were fortunate for us, at least, enough to match up with Jizzle James at the event. You got a firsthand look. Was that the only game that you got to see him? Did you get to see anything else?
No, we watched the champion. They played in the championship game against called Winter Haven on Friday night. So we drove back as a team and we watched that game. That's a really good team. They got a kid committed to Georgia and a kid committed to Florida A&M, and then a couple juniors that were in Florida. That's a solid ass team.
Yeah, Winter Haven's usually got a pretty good squad. So give us the Tobes scouting report. I know you posted on the board and gave some thoughts there. Everybody always loves when they see Z Tobes pop up on Bearcat Journal. But what did you think getting to see him firsthand?
He he's one of those kids that like right now, like I wouldn't be surprised if Satterfield would be calling Wes saying, "Hey, can I get him for some football practices?" Like he looks like a
running back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks like his dad. He's built like his dad, the exact same. I mean, he looks like a running back playing point guard out there. And he's just so athletic, like it's crazy. Like he gets to point A to point B like so quickly, and then he's just very explosive too, like around the rim, like he's trying to go up and dunk everything and trying to get his hands on the backboard and stuff like that. He gets with that being said, he gets himself a little bit out of control sometimes. He gets ahead of himself, which he's still learning what he can physically do. The skill is there, like his stroke, like he went like 1 for 6 from 3 against us, but I mean obviously pretty much our entire game plan was to stop him, and then they had like another kid who's a really good shooter on their team, and then the Bo Outlaws kid was actually on that team too. But he's got a good stroke and everything, so I'm not worried. Like his form is there. It's not like he's got completely broke jumper and everything, and you can see it in his pull-up game is incredible. His
mid-range game is elite.
Yeah, it's like Evan Ipsaro on our team. I mean, it's funny. Some of those guys, like they step inside the 3-point line into a pull-up and stuff, and it's just money every time. But then for whatever reason, when they step beyond that 3-point line, they're just not as comfortable with it, not as confident in it for whatever reason. But if he gets on that gun and everything and stays on, which I'm sure he will, I don't see why he can't become a solid 3-point shooter and stuff like that.
I'm curious, how much of that do you think is for guys like him that almost always have the ball in their hand? The 3-point line becomes like because the 3-point line is typically catch and shoot, or you're coming off of ball screens, or you're not really like breaking down a defense behind the 3-point line. It looks like he spent most of his basketball life ball in his hand, getting into the paint, right? Right.
Exactly. And you can tell he's trying to get the 3-point a part of his game. Like he took a couple on on a pull up, kind of just like he does, in the mid range. It's funny, like his high school team, he he doesn't really bring the ball up all that much for him. He does sometimes. He does when the game is on the line.
Right.
The ball is almost entirely in his hands. But he lets his teammates, kind of play a little bit, which I think is good because he wants them dudes to get in the rhythm too, because he knows it helps them at the end of the day. Like you see some of these guys where they're just like, clear out, everybody get out, every play, and it's just like one-on-one.
Everything's 1-4 flat.
Right, exactly. And it is for them, when they need a bucket at the end of a quarter, end of a half, or something like that, end of the game situation. It's like, I couldn't tell you how many times watching the film on him, getting ready for the game, where he would hit like a buzzer beater or something like that. Like it was kind of weird how many times it happened. They played that Orlando Christian Prep in one game, and he had to have 30 something, but he hit a pull up two to go ahead with like 10 seconds left in one of the overtimes, or that was in regulation. And then in like the second overtime, he hit a three as the clock went out to tie it. So it's like anytime, right? It's like he's got that, like, I don't want to say the clutch gene, but he's not afraid of the moments, the big moments, and he wants the ball in his hands in the big moments.
See, you've got a solid point guard that is going to be a D1 kid in Evan Epsaro.
Yep, he's going to Miami, Ohio.
Yeah,
that was a good battle between those two. I think they match up pretty good. I mean, Evan's kind of built like Jizzle, just a little bit shorter, but he's more of that stocky, athletic, likes to get to the rim, likes the pull up game versus just catching and shooting and everything like that. So they play fairly similar. And we had him guarding him most of the time, but we kind of switched it up a little bit to give guys breaks and ran double teams and stuff at him.
What I was getting at though is what did you gather from Jizzle as a defender going against another Division I level guard?
He can guard, man. I think he'll be better at guard. Like, sometimes when a guy's a little bit smaller than you, they can get up under you a little bit. But I think he has all of the tools to be a phenomenal point guard defender. He's got long ass arms. He's got really quick hands. Like, that was one of the things on our scouting report was like, don't play with the ball around him. Like, he will steal it from you. Like, if you get it, it's one or two dribbles and move the ball, or if you just got a shot, take the shot. Like, you're not playing with the ball in front of him. Like, he will steal it. And he's like, it's crazy. Like, he's one of the strongest dudes I've ever seen from like the point guard.
Yeah.
Like there was a couple times where we had a guy like running like full speed, like trying to, get past them, and they like kind of ran into him, and he just was like a brick wall right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we don't got like the largest humans in the world on our team.
Not this year, at least.
But the point still stands. Like, he even did it in the game against Winter Haven. They had one of their juniors who's like a two guard for them, but he's like a thicker built dude. And they tried to throw it into the post on him, and he couldn't move him at all. Like, he bullied everyone else like in the whole tournament. Couldn't move him at all. Had to settle for some fadeaways and stuff on him. But I think he has a chance to be an elite defender from the point guard position.
He does, and he the thing for me is he's a good vertical athlete. He's just as good as a lateral athlete. Like, he is move.
Absolutely, and like his long speed, like he's fast, no doubt, but like his long speed, end to end, I wouldn't say is elite, but like his quickness, his burst is just absurd. Like, you can see where he gets it from his dad, hitting the hole or whatever. It's like the exact same thing when he gets a rebound. Those first like two dribbles, like he's the half court in no time.
Yeah, and he is almost impossible to keep out of the lane.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Like he'll get so many dudes like he did, for his high school team. Like he gets dudes layups, lobs for dunks, kick out threes. Like it was, not only just trying to stay in front of him defensively, from him scoring, but from him also distributing and everything too.
Yeah. So your take overall.
Overall,
Where do you think when he gets here next year, is he going to be able to help this team early? Not be a star, not.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those like he won't. I don't think he'll come out. I mean, I would love for him to come out, scoring 10 to 15 a game right away. Usually that doesn't happen necessarily.
Right.
But he's a guy that can definitely come in right away. Like I don't know if you would want him to be like your starting point guard, just because that's a lot to. Now, if he does become that, I don't see why he can't be. But that's just a lot to ask for a freshman coming into the Big 12, to be your starting point guard. But I definitely think he could be a fantastic, backup point guard as a freshman, or you could slot him off into like the shooting guard position too. Like, so he could kind of play both a little bit. I think you could have him on the court with your point guard at the same time, like, because he can play. He's not one of those guys that has to be ball dominant. Like he's not, for his high school team, he's not ball dominant.
But he had 30 in that championship game, didn't he? 31, 32,
yeah, he had
something.
31. I don't think that was his best game. He had flashes that were really good. He made a lot of tough shots, but I don't think that was his best game. I've seen him play better. He missed a couple layups that he should have made, but you could see. I mean, there was just times where they just could not stop him. He just missed the shot or whatever.
Right.
It was, that should happen sometimes. But I talked to him, and his dad was there after our game. I stopped, when we were walking out or whatever, talked to him for a minute, introduced myself to him and everything. And both of them, him and his dad, like they could not be nicer people, man. Like and the whole group they were with really, like they were just all very complimentary of our team, and everything about it. And like they were excited to get up to UC. Couldn't wait for that. So I'm really excited for him to get to campus.
Did you tell him you were a legend?
No, Freddie did. Joe Freddie. It was mentioned, but I kind of.
It wasn't you that did the mentioning. You tried,
right, exactly.
Typical Tobler fashion, you tried to downplay it a little bit.
Exactly.
That's great. All right, well there you go. There's 20 minutes on our guy Jizzle James from someone that had to break down the film, had to get a team through playing him for a game. Got to see him a couple other times at the tournament.
We almost had them too, man. We lost by 7, and they're they were number 2 in the entire state of Florida or something.
Yeah, they're way up there.
So yeah,
I was Outlaw's kid.
He was good. He reminded me of Odie kind of, where he's just like a crazy springy athlete, but he wasn't like a basketball player yet. He was more just like a 6'8" athlete playing basketball. Wasn't super skilled, but he's up there and he's just throwing lobs and dunking it, as much as he can, blocking shots, rebounding. He actually was a good lateral athlete. I thought they did a pretty good job on Evan when we'd come off a ball screen and they would hedge. He was phenomenal at that. He moved laterally really well. But he's not like he might be like a lower level D1 guy.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't even know what grade he was in. I don't know if he was.
I don't either. I think he's young. He's younger for sure. I think. I just don't know if it's 24 or 25.
Yeah.
So let's get to the current iteration of the Bearcats. I don't know if you got to watch yesterday. It wasn't a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was watching it. Like the biggest thing yesterday, and the biggest thing I've noticed over, it's just the inconsistency, man. Like there's times where they look, phenomenal, and there's other time where they look like they've never played basketball as a team together. Like and I don't, who knows what that is. Like I think they just try to get playing too much one-on-one sometimes, like especially offensively. Like when they're out there and they're moving the ball to each other, they're passing, they're cutting, they're getting a post touch, they're getting a paint touch, then they're good, But there was that stretch where Temple kind of went on their run and everybody was trying to play hero ball. Like that was, one of our things with when Mick was there, when I played for him, was like, I don't need heroes. I need soldiers who are going to follow orders and stuff like that. I don't need everybody trying to hit the hero shot every time. And that's what it felt like when they went on that 15-0 run, was everybody was just trying to hit that shot. They kind of took turns at it, but everybody was just trying to hit that shot to get them back into it instead of just running through their offense and getting a good shot and getting the best shot.
I do think, unfortunately, they had 3 or 4 good shots in that stretch.
They did, and they just didn't go in. Right.
And then I think, isn't that when it starts to compound itself, when guys start pressing? Because they're getting these looks that they make 8 times out of 10, and everybody's missing.
Right.
Now the other team's on a run. You can't get anything to fall. Dave starts to do it a little too much in isolation. Landers starts to do it a little too much in isolation. It spreads, and next thing you know, a 7-point lead is an 8-point deficit going into the break.
Exactly. And the biggest thing yesterday was that they just got killed on the glass. Like you can't go on the road and get out rebounded by 20 and expect to ever win. That I know the one dude for them had 15 rebounds or something. The wing
16 rebounds, he averaged 4.
Can't shoot a lick either. Made that one, that almost.
He averaged 4 points and 4 rebounds coming into the game.
And had 12 and 16 or something, 14 and 16 or something.
Yeah.
You just can't get out rebounded on the glass like that. It's a recipe for a loss every time, especially on the road.
Yeah. I want to ask you this because I think it gets lost on people some that aren't around it all the time. Rebounding, I know everybody thinks rebounding is effort and toughness, and some of it is.
Right.
But the most relatable skill that translates in all levels is rebounding.
Absolutely.
From what I've seen over 15 years of watching high school and AAU and college, and when you're scouting, if a kid can rebound, he can rebound.
There's a lot of times they just have a knack. I can go up against Gary Clark as much as I want. I can go as hard as I possibly can. Gary's probably going to get the rebound over me 9 times out of 10. And he's one of the guys that has a knack. Him, Trey Scott, guys like that just had a knack for finding the ball. Yeah, Justin Jackson had a knack for finding the ball, getting position, locating it off the shot, off the rebound. And you have to go every time. That's the thing. Sometimes guys pick and choose when they want to go. The elite rebounders, they go to the offensive or defensive glass every single time. You see Dan Skilling's doing that now. He's one of those that he already is a phenomenal rebounder from the wing spot as a freshman.
Yeah.
He goes every single time, and he's one of those guys that's he always seems like he's in the right spot for the rebound. He just has that knack for finding it, and it helps that he's 6'6", really long,
7'2" wingspan,
and can jump really high.
That's kind of what I wanted to get to, and I'm glad you brought up Dan. Sometimes it is as simple, and this is not to excuse getting out rebounded by 20 against Temple. That's not a team with dominant bigs. There's no excuse for losing a rebounding battle that bad. what I'm getting at is more of why this is just kind of an average rebounding team overall. Is that other than Dan, like Vic is good at it, but Vic is an area rebounder.
Right.
He's good if the ball's coming off the rim and in his vicinity. There's
Right.
a good chance he's going to get it. But this team doesn't really have, outside of Dan,
right,
difference makers on the glass. Guys that just have that, like, I'm walking in the gym and getting every rebound today, and there ain't shit you can do about it. They don't have any of those guys on the roster.
I think Dan's like the only one. I mean, Odie tries hard on it. He plays hard.
He wants to get every rebound.
He wants to. He just doesn't. He's just not overly skilled in everything. He's just an athlete playing basketball right now. And he tries hard. Like, don't get me wrong. He just doesn't. You know. I don't know how to explain it on it. It's weird.
It's a feel thing. It
does. And he just right.
Either you have a knack for like being able to like. It's almost like being able to do like math faster in your head than anybody else. Where's the ball spinning? Where is it going to hit off the rim? Like, where did they shoot it from? Where is it like most likely to go? Is it going to be a long rebound? Is it going to be a short rebound? Like. There's just a lot of that goes into it. Reed, the argument that Dan didn't get enough minutes in the second half, I disagree. Dan was hard to play yesterday.
Couldn't make a layup.
I get it. Like, he's back home. He's trying to do a lot.
1-3 that. Right. Yeah, you see that sometimes, like with the kid from NJIT that came back to Fifth Third, yeah, and he just was. It was like he was trying too hard to prove that, he belonged and to show out for the city or whatever, versus just playing the game with his teammates and everything.
Right.
And you could see that a little bit. Not that Dan went like too out of control on it or anything like that. Like, he was fine with it, but he just didn't play well. It just happens. He didn't play well offensively, at least. His defense was okay. He made a couple he made them, forced them into some tough shots that they made, but we fouled a lot yesterday too, it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel as bad at the end. They both ended up with 15 attempts.
Yeah.
It's just that Temple made 14 of their 15.
We fouled good free throw shooters, and they fouled Vic a lot. Maybe that's why the difference was. Which is funny because, like, Vic has like a decent stroke too. It's not like
it's very mental with him.
Broke. I was gonna say it has to be, because
he'll get in a groove where he goes 6
right.
of 7, 8 of 9, right. And then it feels like as soon as he misses one, he starts overthinking.
Right.
And then he's off.
Loses his mind. Right.
Yeah.
He's one that, like, the teams have started. Like, I noticed it against a little bit in some previous games, but Temple really kind of exaggerated it when they like had Vic, up at the top of the key catching the ball. Like, there wasn't a defender within 10, 15 feet of him. Like, they were just guarding in the paint. Like,
and then what they did, as soon as he got downhill,
right,
they were physical
went to
low.
take a charge. Yeah.
They were physical low. Like, they loaded up on him. They messed up his footwork. He was trying to rush. Like, if you look, he had shots around the rim.
Right.
His footwork was all off.
It was last year, Vic.
Yeah.
It was last year, Vic.
And I talked about this on the nightcap last night. Like, I worry about that a little bit, because the scouting report in conference play was exactly that.
Right.
Be physical with the body. Be physical with the body. He rushes. He gets flustered a little bit.
Right. He's shooting his hook shot before his head's even looking at the rim. Like,
right.
He's like looking a different way, and he's shooting it when his head's not even all the way turned looking at the rim. He's just chucking it up there.
Yeah, when he's been really good, he's taken his time. Right. He's been
absolutely
under control, patient, let the game come to him. And I thought it happened in the Tulsa or in the Tulane game too.
It did.
He got away with it.
there were some flashes. Like he's had some flashes throughout this year of it, but for the most part, he's been a lot better, which is a good sign. But yeah, yesterday he was definitely the worst with it.
I'll let you get to this one here, Tobes. They've heard my take. Why isn't the team rebounding or playing consistent defense, number one? And what is a realistic time frame to get back to Bearcat basketball?
Well,
knock yourself out, Tobes.
Number one, first and foremost, they just don't have great individual defenders. So when you don't have great individual defenders, it's hard to have great team defense. I mean, you can kind of hide it somewhat, but like we don't have that guy right now that can just, hey, when a guy's making a couple shots in a row, who can we put on him to just get a stop? And right now, the best defender probably is David DeJulius, maybe.
Yeah, it's Dave for sure.
Because he can get up under people. He's quick and he's strong, but he's 6 foot, maybe 6 foot. And that's part of his problem. Is there was a couple times where they put a bigger wing on him or whatever offensively, and they just scored right over top of him. Like there's just nothing he can do just because of size.
It's definitely an area where not having John Newman and Rob Finney
absolutely
affects this team drastically.
Because if you had at least one of them in, like they're a really good individual defender. Yeah. So they're not getting beat as much. So they're not forcing rotations as much. So everybody else doesn't have to be flying around defensively too. That's the biggest thing, in my opinion, with it is why we're not a great defensive team. It's not that we're not trying, like they're out there, they're trying to be. We just don't have great individual defenders. The hope was, Odie could be part of that. The hope was Ezekpe could be part of that, and he just hasn't figured it out for whatever reason. They brought John Newman in to do that, and he's been hurt, injury prone a little bit, unfortunately. And same thing with Finney. I mean, they brought him to be that point guard defender, and he was fantastic at it when he was in. But he's another one that's just been hurt a lot, and it is what it is. But what is a realistic time frame to get back to Bearcat basketball? It's just more talent, to be honest with you. Especially getting into the Big 12, which I think they'll be able to. I mean, Wes came in and he made a team for the AAC, and then halfway, right before the first season starts, oh, well, now you're going to the Big 12. So this past year, he's trying to recruit some people, and really most of them were just for the AAC still. So, we'll see what it looks like this spring and summer.
Look, let's be honest.
Recruiting for the Big 12.
Let's be honest. Kids in the portal last year weren't receptive to the old it's just 1 year in the AAC, and then you're going to play in the Big 12. No, I'm going to go play if I want to play in the Big 12. I'm going to go play in the Big 12
because they don't have to now. I mean, nowadays you got any option you want, just about, especially for the level of kids that UC is going to want to try to get. Like those kids can go pretty much wherever they want. So, last year was tough because, even if you're recruiting a multi-year guy, well, some of them were like, well, I'll just go play in the SEC right now, or I'll go play in the Big 10 right now, or I'll go play in the Big 12 right now, rather than, play a year, in the Leah Course Center in the AAC and with 3 fans in the stands.
The Licorice Center with 20.
The Licorice Center, right? Yeah, however the hell you pronounce it.
It's gonna get there. It's gonna.
Yeah, it'll get there. I mean, you already saw it with. He was able to get Nolly this year, who's a higher talented kid. You saw it with Jizzle and Ray Vaughn, who are both ranked, right around 50 in the class, 4 stars. So you're already seeing it happen. He just needs to start stacking recruiting classes, and then using the portal to be able to fill out the roster with any, specific needs that team might need. rather than the first year, he was literally just trying to get a team together. And this year was kind of, a mixed bag of sorts.
This is about Vic. Do you think the third foul got into his head? I think the first foul got into his head. Vic gets a foul with 20 seconds in, it instantly changes like the mentality he has.
That's one of his areas where he needs to work on, is like he's emotional, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, he cares, he wants to do well and everything. He tries super hard, but like he'll let a mistake, like one mistake, turn into, getting a foul, then he'll be upset or whatever, and then he'll miss a free throw on the other end because he's still upset at something. He just sometimes lets some of the fouling or just some of the mistakes, like, it's basketball. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to turn the ball over. You're going to get a bad foul every once in a while. Like, you just got to move on to the next play.
And then here's another good one for you. I'll chime in on this one too. Surprised no Kalu or Sage with Vic's foul issues. Odie seems better at the 4 than the 5. Or are both guys just so bad, not ready, that there's no choice but to go small? I think it's the last one, unfortunately, at this point.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. You'd still think with Sage being 7 foot, and he's not like he's completely immobile, that you'd be able to find a couple minutes. But yeah, and that from what I've seen, that's it. Once he gets a little stronger, I know he was like hurt all last year. He kind of was hurt or a lot of his senior year of high school. I think he was kind of hurt just some of those taller guys, especially when they're younger, or a little more injury prone. But yeah, it's one of those, like, Kalu just hasn't performed, at least in games, like he should have, or that Wes and the staff were hoping he would, or what he had shown previously. And so that's a huge piece of it. Like, they're expecting to be able to bringing him in. They're expecting him to be able to get 15 to 20 minutes, split between the 4 and the 5 position. He just hasn't been able to give them that.
Right.
And he's one that, like, I think you could play him at the 4. Like, he could play the 4 a little bit. I don't know if I assume they've tried that.
He's played the 4. Practice. I mean, a good amount. Yeah.
Obviously, if it's just not working, it's just not working. So, if Wes doesn't have if he had any confidence at all in it, you would see it in the games.
Right.
Not seeing it at all is kind of the telltale sign of what he thinks and what the rest of the staff thinks.
Yeah, I mean, people just, like, trust is so critical.
Mm-hmm.
For all.
It absolutely is. It's it's the same thing at any level of basketball. Hey, if I can trust you to go in, defend a little bit, don't turn the ball over, make smart plays and stuff like that.
Rebound.
You're gonna play longer naturally. Now, if I'm putting you in a game and I don't know whether you're gonna make a spectacular play or dribble the ball off your foot, I can't play you. Like, as much as I would want to. I mean, they're both great kids, from having met them. It's not like they're, bad kids or anything. They just, if you can't trust them to be out there, to even just not even necessarily make plays and stuff like that, but just don't be completely awful, turning the ball over, bad shots and stuff like that. You just can't.
You were a part of a lot of teams, some of them better at this than others. What is the toughest part about learning to be a team that wins on the road? Where is this team lacking right now in going and winning on the road?
They're just like, when I was my freshman year, when we were really good, like, so SK and them, like that group, like, we had some younger pieces, like Troy played a good amount. Kevin Johnson played a little bit. And we had some younger guys too in there. But on the road, like, anytime the other team would maybe go on a run or make a couple plays or something, we turned to SK to go make a play. Maybe, maybe that was him scoring, or maybe that was him, distributing the ball and getting somebody else a shot or something like that. We don't have necessarily anyone that just, who are we looking to right now on this team when the going, like when we need a bucket, when we need something, like, yeah, you can go to DeJulius a little bit. I mean, he's shown it a little bit, maybe not, but Nolly's still one. Like he makes a lot of phenomenal plays and he does a lot of good things, but like, I don't know if he's going to airball the three or if he's going to drain it or like what he's going to do. And then the same thing is defensively. It's like when we need to get a stop, like who are we having to get a stop? You had, that team, you had Justin Jackson or you had Titus Rubles. Like you knew that dude in crunch time was going to get a stop, was going to make a play defensively. And right now, it's just like, who is that guy that you look to get that? Right now, I don't know.
All right, Richard, what's up? Appreciate you. Just showing some love. How long until Wes has this program in the NC tournament? 2 or 3 years. Also in the Big 12, like the early Big East days of just losing with no hope. I don't think you're going to see losing with no hope because I think there's going to be enough talent here. Now, they might not win a lot of games, but I think people forget how bad some of those early Big East games were where you're losing to UConn by 40, before you can blink.
Well, that's the thing is he'll have some first year. So like next year in the Big 12 will probably be a lot more similar to last year, maybe. But that's the thing in the Big 12, like you can go 500 in conference and you can make the tournament. Like,
yeah.
So that's winning. That's winning all your home. Like win, 90% of your home. Win your home games and steal a couple on the road.
Did either of you see the top 10 rankings that came out for the remaining schedule?
Oh yeah, I think I did see that. ESPN posted that maybe, and it's every single Big 12 team, or 1 through 10, or 1 through 10, or whatever it is. Every single Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Every top 10 remaining toughest schedule is everybody's in the top 50.
Yeah,
it's 10 absurd. Of the top 50 in the
and everyone is in the top 50. Like there isn't a single one. But I mean, Wes will figure it out. Like he's a smart dude. He's the winningest coach under 40 in like NCAA history. Like there's no one that's under 40 years old or that was ever been under 40 years. Like that list is like Bill Self, Huggins, like
Patino.
The who's who, Patino, Boeheim's on it. Like it's literally a who's list of coaches. Like he'll figure it out. I mean, that's why I'm not really worried. I mean, I think he is the right. There's a lot of people that are losing their minds right now with it, and it's like, the guy's been here for a season and a half. He took over a dumpster fire, a team that's turned over their roster every year for like the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
like it's just there's been no stability.
Since you left. When you left, everything fell apart.
Yeah, except like the year after they were good, and then I think the year after was the game that shall not be named.
Oh yeah, we don't.
But
so I
had stay on the Nevada
Right, exactly.
I had an observation while I was watching you guys, and not part of the show. While I was hanging out with Brinix. I'm mad that NIL happened after Tobler was done with school because you should have been getting paid for this. You should have been getting paid for this the whole time you were in college.
I know. I would have had to work a little less, doing side jobs and stuff. You
might not have this budding career though. If not.
That's true. No, I probably still would have been working for my dad. So I probably still would have done like a similar career path, but like I probably wouldn't have ever been like a bouncer or something, like doing that kind of stuff. trying to make some extra cash and stuff on the side. It would have been easier from that perspective. I wouldn't have been going to work and then going straight to practice and then back to work.
Chad, did you ask about being a leader on the team? There was some time I didn't get to listen.
I was getting ready to get to that.
Just a topic that came up last night that maybe Zach could give us a little bit better insight on.
Here's the thing that talking about having the locker room guy. Like the guy that not necessarily the on the floor, but like the guy that behind the scenes holds guys accountable. Make sure everybody's busting their ass in practice. Make sure like everybody's being held to the same standard.
Right. Like when I was there, it went from, Titus. SK was that guy.
No, it was Titus. Come on.
He was, but they kind of both were. SK
they
a lot.
Different.
In different ways. But so you had those two guys, and then kind of went to like, Gary and Troy were kind of those guys. Gary really was for sure. So like it kind of went from guy to guy, and like right now, obviously I'm not there every single day, but like who is that guy? I know DeJulius is one of their leaders, but I don't think he's as vocal of a leader.
He's kind of a quiet guy, like an introspective, smart, quiet guy.
Right, which is fine. He leads by example. But sometimes you just need that guy that will get into somebody's ass if they're, half-assing it through practice or something like that. Like, in a game to pick it up. Like it can't always come from Wes. It can't be, Coach Dollar or Wes. It can't always come from a coach. Like at some point, some of it, like the really good teams have a player, two players, three players, sometimes the whole team are those leaders. And who it is in this group, I don't know.
Is it too early in his career at UC for Landers Nolley to be that guy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he does. I think he's a guy that doesn't want to come. Like, you definitely want to earn that respect too. Like, you can't just come. You can't just show up one day and just act like you're the best thing ever. But at the same time, like he is one of their, if not their most talented, kid. I don't think there's anything, that's stopping him from doing it, from, trying to do it and trying to be that leader that they need. Now, I don't know if that's his personality or not. Some guys just don't have the personality. It's not bad or good. Like They have to have that personality too. Can we get the line?
The band's all here.
Whew, gentlemen, how are we? Zachy T.
Talking about.
Tober
What's up,
time.
big dog?
How are we, baby? How are we?
I'm better now that you're here, baby.
Hey, we made it, man. Golly, we made it. I was in Florida, 4 hours ago? That's a record time to me. Here before 8 p.m. Lock it in.
Where in Florida were you at?
My parents live in Cocoa Beach, so
nice.
Was there for a hot minute. Went down, saw my sister in the Boca Raton.
Did you go hang out with the Jacksons in Cocoa Beach? Justin Jackson's parents still there?
I tried to hit them up. They didn't answer my call. DMs didn't go through, so it worked out though. But how are we? Are we knee deep in Bearcat basketball talk right now?
We are. We've been hitting on the pertinent, important topics. Having some good conversation about leadership and rebounding and defense, playing on the road, why it's so much different than winning games at home.
Defense.
Private jet tracking for Brent to rejoin the BVP.
Made it. We made it. Locked in. So first off, Tobes, how much do you hate Temple?
Oh, I'm so glad we never have to play there again. Those were always miserable. Like just going there and you just knew there was going to be like 13 people in the stands and like those were just It was miserable. It's the same thing at like East Carolina, Tulsa. Like you knew you were just going to get in for a rock fight because they play. I mean, they play hard. The other team's trying to win too, but there's just nobody there. The place is dead. Like, I can't wait to get out of there.
That camera angle. You guys already talked about the camera angle. I'm just happy.
Mine?
No, the at the Liacria.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I think that's some music.
Yeah.
Like that. Or you're getting the all 22 version of it.
Oh my gosh.
It's the all 22. I love it.
The LaCroix Seltzer Water Center.
Yeah.
No, it's the licorice center.
Good, because I hate licorice too. So.
Yeah. The nasty licorice.
Fits perfectly.
Golly.
The black licorice center, the bad kind.
I agree. Well, I want to cramp up your guys' flow if you're on a roll with something, but
no, we were kind of getting to about a stopping point in terms of questions that I had. So if you've got anything you want to quickly hit on, his Cubcat team did play.
Yeah, I was going to say
down in Florida.
Yeah,
we got about 20 minutes on that. But if you got anything you want to inquire about, or any,
I'll add this while you're thinking real quick, Brent. Ready. So we played Jizzle's team. We can't beat the UC recruit.
Right.
But then 2 days later on Friday, we played Pick Central with Devin Royal and beat their ass by 15. So we can beat the Ohio State guy. We can't beat the UC guy.
You know what? We'll take that. Something tells me you had a nice little inside job on that. We're not putting it out there in the public, but I'll say it. Yeah. Make sure the UC guy wins, and then we'll take down everyone else. But yeah, we'll roll with that. Number one question, though. I'm not gonna. You might have already touched on this, but does Jizzle James have that dog in him? Because we need to start getting the players back on the team. And I'm not shouting out anybody or turning down anybody. I'm just saying, just kind of got that dog in him. You know what I mean?
From what I saw, yes. Like he has the ability to. I mean, the kid plays so hard, and he has the length and athleticism at 6. I mean, he's only 6 foot. Like they list him at like 6'3" or something, which is out of their mind.
Right.
But he's 6 foot. 6'1" with sneakers on, maybe. But he's got long arms for being that tall, and he's a really springy athlete. So he can defend well, and he just gets by people so quickly. In his pull-up game, man, I love his pull-up game. He gets so high on his shot, and he shoots it at the top too. He's not like pushing it out or anything.
Right.
It's very difficult to guard. But yeah, I think he's got a chance to be a really good one.
Yeah, because recently David DeJulius has really amped up the defense at times where you can kind of see he's getting under the skin of the opponent, and
and they got no choice but I think he drew 1 or 2 charges.
Right, the push off. Yeah.
Yesterday, because they're just trying to create some space on him, and that's all they can do.
Get that at all 5 spots.
Type.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Good. I was gonna say get that at all 5 spots, and
absolutely.
The team will roll.
Did he also beat the Ohio State team?
They did not play.
Okay.
I don't think. No, because they Pick Central lost to that Winter Haven team, and then Winter Haven, we were in opposite sides of the bracket, so they never played.
Got a little Bo Outlaw time as well. He's on that team?
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I mean, I like basketball, so I like seeing now that these older guys that have been in the NBA and been through it all, seeing their kids come through and all that stuff.
It's crazy, Tobes. There's so many of them now.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, absolutely.
Like sitting at an AAU event, anytime you see a last name that
you're like
clicks.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute, is that guy?
It's almost always their kid.
Oh, well, because they just have the genes. I mean, they have that in there.
There's a number out there that talks about like how the percentages jump like 75% if you're the child of a former Division I athlete, or like, you know, like
absolutely.
each level. Like, did your parents play at college? Did your parents play in the pros? And then like 1% of kids who didn't have athletic parents don't make it.
It's
and
like,
then like 60% of kids that did end up going on to play major sports.
Absolutely. Yeah, you see some of these kids, like some of these parents nowadays. It's hilarious. I mean, they're like, you know, the dad's like 5'9" and the mom's like 5'3", and it's like they think their kid is like some third grade all-star, and it's like, dude, your kid has maybe a shot to play D3 basketball. Like,
maybe
you can calm down. Like, chill out. It's not going to the NBA. I'll promise you that right now. Like, relax. Just enjoy it.
You played against Houston before, and obviously been been involved in trying to take down the Cougars.
I got Troy an assist against Houston.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say you got the first bucket of the game, right? Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back to senior night there. But yeah, so I circled that Houston game, hoping that they would be able to take care of business at Temple, and then of course on the road at Wichita again. I circled that Houston game as one of the biggest games in the early tenure of Wes Miller. Now after the Temple game, I still have it as a highly important one, but judging based off of Kelvin Sampson coach teams and just kind of everything that you know about Houston, what needs to change from now until then to, you know, kind of put up a pudding
the roster?
Yeah, agreed.
Right. In front of a hostile environment.
Houston's one of those teams that they are going to come out and they're going to play hard as shit, and they are going to, you know, all these coaches, you know, or I shouldn't say all, a lot of them, you know, they use the proverbial like, oh, they're going to come out and punch you in the mouth and stuff like that.
Right.
Like no, this team, like, they will knock you on your ass.
Yep.
Like they come out and they play hard as shit for Kelvin. So that's one of the things, like, it's one of the biggest things, you know, with not getting blood, you know, forget it being a game with Houston, not getting blown out by them. Like, you have to match and exceed like their intensity. Like, you can't let them just come out and dictate everything, because if you do, you're dead in the water from there. Like, you got no shot from the beginning.
Great. So you're expecting a bloodbath?
Not necessarily. I mean, they've kept it close against some teams they shouldn't have and stuff like that. Like, it happens. They might have an off night, like, you know, and UC could play well. Like, it's not. I'm not saying there's no shot. There's always going to be a chance. Like, unless they're playing, you know, the dream team or something, then I'd say there's probably no chance. But, you know, college basketball, anything can happen. Any team can beat any team, for the most part.
I mean, what?
But especially this UC team, they have enough offensively that they can score enough points.
Just can't miss
to stay with teams. They just, you know, they can't have a team like Temple, who is shooting like 29 or 30% from the year from three, and shoot 50% from three and make 10 threes or whatever they did. You know, you just can't have that kind of stuff happen.
Yeah.
You can't get bludgeoned on the boards either. Like, if you do that against Houston, if that's one thing that you cannot do, it is that. You have to at least play them even from the rebounding standpoint. Have to.
I mean, UCF went to Houston and almost beat them.
UCF has a nice team.
They do, yeah. So like, kind of along the lines of what you're saying. I mean, anything can happen. You look at Houston's schedule. Yes, they are a very good team. I've watched them play numerous times this year, and they look great. But I mean, Kent State had them, 49-44, and that just
exactly, you know. And UC has more talent. UC has more talent than Kent State.
Right. Right.
So, like, that's a thing. Like, it'll be interesting to see what, you know. So now Wes has played against Houston, you know, Two. Did they play them 2 or 3 times last year?
3 times.
Yeah. 3 times.
Yeah, so he's played them 3 times now. He kind of knows what to expect now from a Calvin Sampson coach team, because you can scout them all you want and everything, but just there's nothing that beats that upfront in person that you get from actually playing them. So he knows what to expect. So seeing what their game plan will be now, to try to slow them down, to try to keep pace with them. It'll be interesting to see what he changes from what he did last year.
I mean, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on slow starts real fast, because what is it about a team that allows for a slow start? I mean, you've seen it.
They didn't really start slow against Temple.
Right. I meant more like Xavier and the Houston game last year at home. Just certain moments where the bright light type games, it seems like it's a bit of a slow start, and then they have to flip the switch and get going.
It's some of those, and I think it kind of goes back sometimes to guys trying to play hero ball at the beginning of a game. Hey, I'm trying. You can't get up 20 points off of one shot.
Right.
You have to stack it all. And I think some of these, especially some of the bigger games, some guys, it's no fault of their own. It's not like they're not trying. They're, maybe they're trying too hard to just be that guy at the beginning of the game or whatever.
Right.
Whereas if they would just, play within their offense and use their offense to get good shots, no matter who it is, and just getting the good or great shot versus just trying to be a hero and trying to make a shot. I think that kind of hurts them sometimes. I mean, it's what happened in the Xavier game. Why they got down, 12-1 or 12-0 or whatever it was, because everybody was trying to hit that shot, rather than just playing within the offense and running their offense and getting great shots no matter who is getting that shot.
It's very diplomatic of you to say everybody.
Hey, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus.
I know. I'm just saying.
I like them all.
It's very diplomatic of you. That's all I was saying.
Exactly. That's my and that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not like they're not, they want the same things we do. Like, they want to win just as much, if not more, than we want to win, because they're putting in the effort every single day to do it. It's just, sometimes you just gotta know when it's your time and when it's, maybe someone else's time.
Gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Know when to walk away, know when to run.
I knew we were going to get there. I knew we were going to get there. You better count your money. Count your money, boy.
While you're sitting at the table. There'll be time for counting when the dealing's done.
There we go. There we go.
We made it all the way through.
Lock it in. Gambling legal in Ohio. There you go.
Victor locked in.
Victor locked in.
Did you guys make any bets in Ohio yet? Any first legal betting in Ohio?
I've lost everything.
I think what the greatest thing is, and I think it was at the casino downtown. They had what's his name?
Pete Rose.
They had Pete Rose do the first bet on the Reds. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. He bet on the Reds to win the World Series.
To win the World Series or something. Like, that is amazing.
That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I myself have gambled far too much for far too many years. So
I'm not one that I've never really
smart man.
Never really been into it. Like, I'll play the fantasy football stuff, but even that stuff, I'm just like,
whatever.
I don't know. I'm not super into it. I'll forget to set some lineups and stuff, and then my team will just go off the rails.
Group chat gets angry, and they're like, "Come on, Tobes, pay attention."
Yeah, I got Lepore like texting me like on Christmas Eve, and I'm in the the semifinals of our league or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, don't forget to set your lineup," and I'm like 10 beers deep, and I'm like, "Oh shit."
I will.
Right.
God damn.
One of us.
We've all been
Speaking of sports gaming in Ohio, there's the link in the chat right there. You can sign up and you are still eligible for the welcome offer where if you bet $50, you get $111 immediately added to your account.
Mhm.
Plus, you get $200 in back in losses per week for the first 5 weeks. So you can bet up to $200 a week for the first 5 weeks, and you're even. They put that back in your account if you don't win.
Good deal. Very good deal.
So what's wrong with that? And you don't need a promo code. You don't need anything. All you got to do is go to that link right there in the chat, sign in, make your deposit. You get $111 right away. You can get your juice on this Bengals Bills Monday nighter that's getting ready to come up via our good friends at Betfred.
I saw they're doing a big promo on that though, where it's like 20, you get like plus 26 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, they ran a special through that. That's not one of ours though. So.
Oh well, sure you could hop on there and get it.
I mean no, you don't do that, Brett.
Okay, don't do that.
Use this link right here.
Don't bet on the Bengals.
Right. No, you just use this link to bet on the Bengals.
Bet on whoever you want.
There we go. Lock it in, Victor. Lock it in. So
Victor, lock it in.
It's pretty funny though because the Bearcat basketball team covered like I want to say 10 out of 11 straight games, and then then they don't cover on Sunday.
Yeah, the first time it's illegal.
The first day that it's legal in Ohio.
It was pretty awesome.
Where it was like, yeah, let's hop in the Bearcats. Let's do it.
Nope.
No, it did not happen. Well, I don't know whatever else you guys touched on. I can kind of sit back and roll with it. I mean, obviously, I hate Temple, and that game was very sad. Was not a fun way to have the final day in Florida. But hey, you know what? Here we are. Can't win them all.
It happens. Can't win them all. Got to learn how to play on the road, Tobes.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get that road warrior mentality.
First 2 true road games did not go
like
well
crap.
this year. Mm-hmm.
I mean, luckily the next game's at home.
They looked fine against Temple for the first 15 minutes and the first 13 minutes.
Till they didn't.
Right, till they didn't.
That 15-0 run does. But yeah, right. Well, luckily the next game's at home, so that's good.
Nope,
at Wichita.
You don't consider the Roundhouse home? I mean, come on.
I mean, home away from home, but still away from home. Unfortunately,
I know,
right.
but what was last?
I mean, I appreciate the joke, but I'm not ready to say anywhere is home safe. Except for Fifth Third Arena with this squad.
I agree.
Is Wichita any good this year? I have not. I feel like I haven't seen a single thing about them.
No, they're pretty bad.
Like
not great. I mean, they're like 103 on Ken Palm. 105 on Ken Palm. Best win, I'll give you Richmond at Richmond. Best win.
When do they play? Tomorrow or Wednesday?
Thursday night.
Thursday, not till Thursday.
Their worst loss.
Damn, 9 p.m. That's rough.
Worst loss at home versus Alcorn State. How about that? Ooh.
Lost to Alcorn State.
Yep.
He's dead.
What's he yelling?
I think he said, "Did Steve McNair play?"
Oh gosh, he did not play in that one. I don't think he recorded a minute, but
he's no longer with us. So,
yeah. But yeah, back-to-back losses for them. UCF on the road, East Carolina at home. So yeah, Bearcats favored by 1 according to Ken Palm. So 51% chance of winning that one. We'll see what happens. Good bounce back would be nice.
Yeah, they lost to East Carolina at home.
Yep.
We should beat these bombs.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Let's hope.
They got nobody on their team that I've ever even heard of. They have the Quincy Ballard kid. Didn't we recruit him for a minute?
Yeah, we did.
The former staff recruit.
Started at Florida State. Yeah. He was huge. Played his really grainy highlight tapes. Couldn't really figure out what was going on other than seeing his tall, dunking and everything.
That's a Florida State and Purdue thing. Just recruit as many 7-footers as you can.
And one will end up being really good.
Figure it out eventually.
Purdue, you have to be 7'5". Like
you have to. They have to have at least one 7'5" guy on the team.
Yeah,
and more than likely be from somewhere not from the States. Just kind of.
I can't believe they didn't. Did they? I wonder if they recruited Taco Fall at all.
he would have been an all-star, like an all-American.
That's what I'm saying. He would have been perfect for them.
Yeah, Zach Edey's Yao Ming, so we'll see.
Chad, is it time for a quick paper supply?
It is time for a timestamp, a quick paper supply timestamp. Your locally and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases. And happy to announce we've extended Quick Paper Supply. They'll be with us for 6 more months.
Hey, baby.
Doing the timestamps here on the BBP.
Let's go.
Thank you to Nick and all the fine folks at Quick Paper Supply. All right, Tobes, I think we're gonna get into. I don't really know that we have any football this week.
I mean, it would be just kind of staff hiring.
Is it still a dead period for them right now? Or when is that?
There is a transfer visit window that opens up on Thursday or Wednesday.
But it's only for transfers.
Only for transfers, yeah.
So they'll probably do something like this weekend. I would think.
They'll have guys in this weekend. We're working on that. I would probably say it would be wise right now to save football stuff for me and Dave on Wednesday because there's just not really anything of note going on at the moment. And we're about 15 minutes from kickoff, and numbers are already dwindling fast as people get ready for Monday Night Football.
We also don't have much of a mailbag, so I'm good with it.
Let's rip the mailbag, get out of here, and be ready to watch some football. Aaron, are you going to make me wait till after this Bengals game to do a nightcap?
It'll be more fun that way, I promise.
Oh, boy. Oh,
cheers.
Boy.
Yeah, what? Well, actually, Tom brings up the AAC Rising. How about that? Tulane with that monster win. I landed. I'm like,
dude, that game was wild.
Ended up winning.
There's been some actual pretty good games on.
There has.
I can't wait for the
Tajay Spears is
that dude's a beast.
4 touchdowns, right?
Beast.
I read that right. Yeah.
I think my favorite
sign me up. Did he transfer to UC next year?
I think he's done.
Is he?
He had a swing pass.
He made himself some money today.
Oh yeah.
They threw a swing pass to him on like 3rd and 8, and he caught it in the flat, and the linebacker came up and just had him dead to rights, and he just ducked right under him. He's so low to the ground that he just gave it one of these, and the linebacker, his arms just went like right over top of him, and he squirted out from underneath him for a first down. That dude, like, look, what we talked about it going into that Tulane game, like that's the best player on the field.
I know people like to compare people to Maurice Jones-Drew, but I think he is the closest thing I've seen to Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yep. And the thing is, Tulane went from 2-10 last year to what they just did this season. I mean, anything can happen.
12-2.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Aaron after dark if the Bengals win. Do a live nightcap and just.
Oh, Aaron's looking giddy. Did you bet Fred a little bit of Bengals tonight?
I got some money on the game tonight.
For the sake of Bengals fans everywhere, I almost put in a wager on the Bills today because if I bet, I lose.
Oh.
So I almost just for the sake of taking one for the team. I almost did, but I didn't.
That is what we call
you should have, because then I was going to say it'd be a win-win, because if the Bills win, then you win money, and if they lose, though, then your prediction or your theory keeps staying strong.
Exactly.
Steven enjoys Tobes popping in. Sure, he's not alone. Thanks for swinging through. Go Bearcats. We enjoy Tobes popping in, too.
Appreciate you, Big Steve.
I always look forward to
always a good time.
I always look forward to getting Tobes in whenever we can. They're also living in hotels and working out at public weight rooms, the Bills, I guess because of the blizzard.
Bro.
Oh, did you see that video of them when they got back from like Chicago? Like, how the hell do they not have like a parking garage or a carport or something with a roof so they don't have to dig through like 18 feet of snow to get to their cars?
Well, like they were pulling out and the snow was still like 5 feet above their car when they were pulling out of the parking spot.
Well, that can't be legal driving down the road like that.
No way.
That sounds miserable.
No way.
Kelly
coming
update.
Back from a road trip.
No. Kelly update. Kelly's doing great. Today was the first day of, and I'm not going to bore you with like the technicalities of this, but her numbers crashed today, which is part of the process. When I say numbers crash, meaning like her white blood cell counts, red blood cell counts. And this is why I can't be around anybody for a month.
When you have the sniffles.
Yeah. Like I had to stay home yesterday because I had the sniffles. Like I woke up in the morning and just was a tiny bit congested, and I'm not allowed to go in if I'm even like a tiny bit not feeling well. That's why I argued with Ohio State fans all day yesterday, because I was stuck home, couldn't do anything, and couldn't be at the hospital with my wife. I was not in a great mood, wasn't in a good place, so I just took it out on Ohio State fans all day.
You hate to see it.
It made me feel good. It made me feel good. They were miserable, and I loved every second of it.
That was maybe one of your best tweets ever, about them kicking it in 2022 and
losing in 2023.
Losing in 2023.
That video linked, like synced with the ball.
With
drop.
the ball.
Oh,
it's
a thing of beauty.
It is unbelievable.
I thought the one today was one of my best tweets of all time, and it didn't get much traction. When the guy said, "Are you on meth?" And I was like, "No, but you're an Ohio State fan, so I'm assuming if I need some, you can hook me up."
Oh gosh. Also, did you hear the story? Did you hear the story about there was
Don't come at me, bro.
A bar in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, that dropped the balloons and
whatever.
And as the kick was
midnight to drop the balloons.
That's amazing. That's glorious.
So they're all watching the game, and the balloons still drop. The place is probably just silent.
Somebody sent me a GIF today of Lieutenant Dan when they're doing the New Year's Eve, and he's just sitting there with the confetti.
All right, the football portion of the mailbag.
I guess Tobes, you're sticking around for the mailbag. There's not much to get through.
Nope. How much will OUT, Oklahoma and Texas, leaving for the SEC in 2 years, change the Big 12 schedule for next year?
No idea. I do think it is obviously changing something because they were going to release the schedule in December, and now it's been pushed back to February. So obviously it is altering the way that – well, because what was going to happen was if they were there for 2 years, they were just going to do a swap of the schedule.
Right.
They were going to do this is what 2023 looks like, and then they're going to reverse it in 2024. And the teams you played at home, you play on the road. That obviously now is not going to be the case if they're likely to leave in 2024. So there are ramifications because they're going to have to think about now this is just a one-off, and then we're going to have to come up with a new formula with 12 teams for 2024. So I don't know how much, but it is changing, or else we would already know what the schedule is.
Pardon the punctuation, Chelsea, but no one knows who Chad Stewart is. When all the moves are complete,
She's
what would
gonna kill you?
That's fine. I'm 2.5 hours away. When all the moves are complete, what would you consider a win, and what would be the signs of a loss when it comes to having personnel ready for the Big 12?
I don't know if I understand the question.
I mean, You need a lot better players.
I
guess they're talking about player personnel. I guess you could say coaching personnel.
Yeah, I'm assuming just what they want to see, what you want to see the roster look like to consider it a win.
More talent,
offensive and defensive line.
Need some hogs on the offensive defensive line.
That's the main thing. We've talked about that ad nauseum, especially with Joe Huber on the way out, and Renfro not coming back. You were already thin there. They better hope that there is a influx, and they've already got 2 that I think are going to be pretty good assimilating into that room on the transfer front. But you're going to need 2, 3, 4 more to feel comfortable. That would be first and foremost. And these are like unicorns in the transfer portal. There's just not many of them.
Everybody wants them.
You need to go find an edge rusher.
Right.
Just like bigs in basketball.
Especially now that we have all cried about Ivan Pace, but best of luck to him. But yes, now pass rushing is an ultimate premium need. So we'll see.
And the last question, this one's a doozy in the football mailbag.
Oh, boy.
So what's everyone's take on how Darren Page supposedly had the running backs watch YouTube videos in lieu of coaching them, maybe since he had never played or coached a position prior to coming to UC? If true, is this standard practice at this level of football or more of a WTF were we doing?
I don't know that story per se. I've heard the rumors of it, but I have not heard that story, so I'm not going to comment on it.
I feel like there's no way. Maybe he sent them some videos or something. Just
it sounds like an urban legend of some, hey, here's a video for you to watch tonight.
Right.
In your free time, and then it spreads, and now all of a sudden he's using YouTube to coach the position.
Right.
I will say I do use YouTube to tie a tie, or I do use YouTube for a lot of things. So,
how old are you?
Maybe it works.
I feel like that's different.
That's not like a professional giving you a YouTube video.
All right, guys, in today's YouTube videos,
that is certainly different.
Hey guys, today we're going to talk about playing running back.
Now if it's him just recording himself and uploading it to YouTube and then just sending it to them all,
that's a new thing.
Maybe
that'd be something too
because of COVID. But
that's the football portion of the mailbag.
Wow.
Moving on to basketball, the first question was about Tobler and what he saw in Jizzle, and I think we covered that extensively.
What's Edge like, real quick, Tobes?
What's that?
You spoke with Edge after the game, right?
Oh, they're the nicest. Him, Jizzle, and the group that they were with, they couldn't have been nicer people. They were phenomenal people. They're the type of people that you want in your program.
There you go.
In and around your program.
Love to hear that.
That's awesome.
I'm sure Coach tracks opponents' second chance points. Do they also track third, fourth, and fifth chance points?
They're all wrapped into second. So yes, they're just all wrapped into one.
I see what you did there, Ring of Black.
Yes.
Well played.
Yes, I like it.
There was a guy who came in averaging 4 rebounds yesterday.
We did talk about
that. He had 4 times that. He had the same amount of rebounds he has in 4 games.
What could the coaching staff have done differently to stop the 15-0 Temple run yesterday?
They called a timeout. They put in lineups. I don't know what else.
They tried a few different things. Sometimes the other team is just playing really well.
You're not.
They got. Temple's got some decent players. I think some of their losses, they haven't had a full roster in some of their losses. Yeah. They beat Villanova. I know Jay Wright's not there, but Villanova still has some talented dudes on their team. It's not like they're completely devoid of talent. Sometimes the other team just makes plays, man.
And that's the basketball portion of the mailbag today.
We are cruising tonight. Let's go.
It is
Everybody wants us to get to the Bengals game.
Seems like Temple's got the Bearcats number too. I can't. I hate Temple. All right.
One last question in the Banks portion of the mailbag. And of course, it's from Skins. New year, new me. So less killing Aaron and more Caillou talk.
There you go.
Happy New Year's.
Is that stupid little bald kid?
Yeah.
Fuck Caillou.
Oh God,
Chad loves
I
him.
hate him.
Fuck that kid.
It came up when we got
I'm with you.
Caillou. We called him Caillou. So here we are.
Happy New Year's, gents. Aaron, did you make it to midnight? Yes, I made it to midnight.
Yay!
I wanted to take this a different direction today. What was your first car?
Oh.
For me, I had a Nissan 200SX stick shift, and I think it took me less than 3 months to burn up and have to replace the clutch.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I had I did that to my second car. My first car was an automatic, and I can't remember what the hell it was, but it was a late 70s, early 80s. One of those like giant boats that just had tires instead of a motor, like on the back. I'll get an answer from my dad. I forget exactly what it was, but he put me out on the road in something that was nearly indestructible.
It was a boat, yeah.
Like on purpose.
Threw you on a boat. Gotcha. Toes, what was the first car?
That I ever had was Suburban. Chevy Suburban 04.
I knew it was going to be a truck.
Cruising, man. First one I ever bought was a Silverado.
There we go.
Look, Aaron, you got to have somewhere for your fishing poles.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm just thinking.
Put a deer carcass in there.
I mean, how tall are you, Tobes? You're like what, 6'4"?
6'4"?
Okay, 6'5". Yeah, of course you're going to have a truck. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So much easier to fit into. So much more comfortable.
I had a GMC Envoy, little Envoy, little nice roller car there. Yeah.
First car I bought was a Saturn.
Okay.
A little blue Saturn 4-door. Drove that thing into the ground.
There you go.
Into the damn ground.
Drove it to LA and back.
Ooh, okay.
Lived?
Well,
was that it?
Lived. Yeah.
That's the mailbag. Get us out of here, Brent. There's football to watch.
Well, I hope you all had good New Year's. We'll talk about it sometime later. Mine was great, but that means it's time to fire up 2023 and ring in a good old time for the Bearcats. Big game on Thursday, by the way, at Wichita State. Bearcats haven't lost at Wichita State until I can even recall. So
they lost the COVID year, I think. They lost at Wichita State.
At Wichita? Okay.
They've lost one at Wichita State. I don't remember.
He who shall not be named.
I don't remember.
That guy. But yeah, so big game. Then, of course, on Sunday, monstrous game. Fifth Third will be rocking. BCJ will have all covers leading up to it and through it. So, of course, big thanks as always to Chatty B and AA Ron and this special guest, Zach Tobler. Thanks for hopping on, Tobes. Hopefully, we'll have you on with a lot more joyous things to talk about and here
anytime
in the near future. But yet again, for everyone
That's
else,
Fred, Quick Paper Supply, Danco.
This has been the BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
Who dey? See ya!